Yesterday, the Democratic caucus put in a bill to try to fix the unconstitutional boundaries that had been drawn in 2011 by this chamber. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I can say to you today, we take our obligation to govern very seriously, as we showed a few minutes ago by passing that procedural resolution. And we also take court orders very seriously. People may say, well, you know, we have an appeal pending, we've asked for a stay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But anybody who knows anything about the law understands that until a court acts and either grants an appeal or grants a stay, you are required to comply with the terms of an order of the court. Now, that's what we have tried to do. We understand when a court says something is unconstitutional, we have an obligation as legislators to try to address that problem. We have known that these districts were unconstitutional for a long, long time. The court affirmed our view of that on June 26th of this year. June 26th. How many months ago was that? We've had an opportunity to get back together and try to fix the problem since June 26. And frankly, we're not the origin of the problem, and we are not the majority party. So in a way, we're not in a position to fix that problem without your help. So what we have been doing over the last few months is writing letters trying to get a commitment to come back here to do our work as required under the Constitution. At least 2 letters asking for us to get back together. No response. Even the court has asked what the majority party is going to do. They most recently asked for the majority party to provide information before August 24th about when and if the majority party was going to produce a map. The response was the classic non-response, i.e., we're not sure what we're going to do. All we can tell you is the governor has called a special session, and that's about it. Well, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, there have been 4 elections for the House of Delegates since this unconstitutional map was drawn. 4. We want to make sure there's not a 5th. We want to make sure we fix that map. So Delegate Bagby has introduced that map, and I think it has a broad base of support within this caucus. We believe that it is constitutional in that it does not take race into effect as the predominant reason by which these maps are drawn. That's what the court said in its June 26 ruling, that you can't use race as the predominant reason. Now, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, there are a couple of other things about this map that I think people would find interesting. First of all, the map assumes the plus or minus deviation in population that this chamber also assumed when it drew its map in 2011. So at least we tried to build on what was used last time. Now, some of us are not quite sure we agree with a plus or minus 1% deviation, but we set it aside and said, okay, we want to build a map at least on basis of some assumptions that were agreed on. Secondly, people are always concerned about split precincts. The old House map, the one that where the 11 districts were considered unconstitutional, had 115 split precincts. In the affected districts, there were 41 split precincts. In those 11 affected districts now, there are only 14 split precincts. So we try to address that issue as well. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, there are a lot of people who have worked very hard on this map. It's not a perfect map. There are no perfect maps, but it's a map. And that's something that has not been produced by the majority party since June 26. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, I hope that we can act quickly on this map. If you have amendments to it, fine. If you don't like it, that's your prerogative too. You can vote against it. There have been some people on this side of the aisle who say that map is unconstitutional, that our map is unconstitutional. I say that again because that's an important point. If you believe it's unconstitutional, then you should vote it down. But we think it is, and we hope that you will support it in the P&E committee as well as when it gets to the House floor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.